May 14th. But what sits here before you is the items as we listen to them from Park Board, and then we put them back into the contract. There was a couple tweaks we had to make them correct and fit really how it would work. So it wasn't all verbatim, but it is the spirit of every one of the things Park Board looked at.
Thank you. I do have some speakers, some people that requested to speak. Thanks. I have one other speaker for item 12, Jeannie Buck.
That just makes me smile. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me the time to talk. My name's Jean Buck. I live at 2401 Lilyfield, for the record, and I think I've met or talked to or had a drink with most of you here. So first and foremost, I just want to say how difficult it is as a citizen, even someone who's comfortable speaking in public, to get up here and say anything. So I appreciate the comments of my neighbors. I appreciate the remarks that people make, and I know that you take them sincerely. I just wanted to draw your attention to a few pictures quickly. This is my son, Hayden. Some of you may know him from attending some of the meetings here in this building. We believe in educating him early about the process. Getting involved with town government has been fulfilling for us, and we're passing that along to him. This was taken on July 4th in our backyard. This is my backyard. It is the corner property that backs right up to field number 1 in Independence West. We love our house. We love our lot. We have great neighbors, and we're thrilled to be there. This is about $23,000 worth of landscaping that I have put in with my husband over the last 2 years. And obviously, you know, we didn't expect to be paying that much so soon, but we knew we would be developing the land at some point. These are some lights that have been on over the last 6 months. None of these pictures are new to Adam Adams. He is my texting buddy. He and I probably go back and forth, maybe more than you and him go back and forth, and I apologize for that. But these are lights that have been left on either after play has ended, when play has not been scheduled, during an ice storm that lasted for 4 days in December. This is in between my house and my next door neighbor's house. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it. I'm not really sure why they're left on so late. Last year when we were here, we did request that if no one was playing on those fields, we could at least be in tight communication with Parks and Rec, and they could easily shut them off remotely so that nobody had to be on site. We were assured that would happen. It has for the most part, and I'm thankful for Adam for responding, but he goes to church, he goes to work, he goes to play with his own children, and I don't think anyone should have to be on call 24/7. It's just, you can see how close this is to my property line and why it's a concern. This is nothing new. You've heard from me before. I've written all of you before. My husband's written all of you before. I don't think it's new to anybody sitting over here to my right either. So why am I bringing this up? Well, I'm also bringing with me tonight something I don't want to bring, but it is baseballs that have been, they are not mine. They have initials on them. They've been scuffed up. My son is 5, and unfortunately, he's not all that good at baseball. I wish he was, but we're working on it. This is a safety issue. This is a major concern. So why am I here talking to you about this major concern and the nuisance? Is that okay? A couple people that will yield their time. I promise you I'm not going to stand here all night, but I think the point needs to be made, and I think it needs to be pretty clear. Last year we hashed it out. We sat here for hours. We talked about working together. We talked about coming together. It's not just baseball and residents, it's taxpayers. 31 house numbers on that side of the street, 16 homeowners represent $188,000 worth of property tax that we're paying every single year. To Mike Fitzgerald's point, what are we seeing in return? I'm not against sports. I'm not against baseball. I'm against league play. I'm not against league play. I'm not against tournaments. I am for safe play in an environment that fosters kids to learn skills like teammates and losing and winning and working hard. I'm for those things, but I'm also for the things that you passed in your Parks and Rec ordinance last year. For example, not leaving litter, garbage cans, bottles, other refuse elsewhere than in refuse containers provided for that purpose. I can't tell you how many beer cans, glass bottles, paper trash, everything in my backyard. And Mayor White, with all due respect, you walk all the time, and anecdotally I know from a neighbor that you saw it yourself and said this is unacceptable. It happens daily. I'm not talking about a couple of bottles or a couple of wrappers. It happens constantly. To participate or engage in any activity where such activity would create a danger to the public or may be considered a public nuisance or hazard for public safety and welfare. You tell me, when I walk outside and I have to explain to my 5-year-old that he's lucky he missed it, okay, to be careful out there. I've had golf balls back there. I've had wiffle balls back there. I'm looking at 6 huge baseballs here. You tell me how you would explain that to your kid. To disrupt in any manner any picnic, meeting, service, concert, exercise, or exhibition that goes on in that area. Well, how about the disruption that's going on in my backyard when I walk out to this in the morning?
Excuse me, we're talking about the baseball contract.
I understand that, and I'm going to get to the point, I promise you.
Okay.
Do I have time?
Well,
Okay.
we have to keep that limited.
I understand. To operate a vehicle at a rate of speed in excess of 15 miles an hour upon a drive, road, or parking lot within or upon park property located within the corporate limits of the town unless otherwise posted. Do you know how many nights I hear cars peeling out in the parking lot behind my house or on Parkview Lane, and there's skid marks, and I go back there, or my husband goes back there, and there's nobody back there that we recognize. There's nobody that we know who's from the town whose kids are playing baseball. Mostly those are at tournament times. To park or operate an inoperable motor vehicle or operable motor vehicle in any parking space for a period more than 24 hours. I was trying to get the Wi-Fi in here to work so I could upload a photograph of a U-Haul that was parked behind my house for a week that I also texted Adam about, and he took care of. But again, it can't be me policing it. It can't be Mike Buck policing it. It can't be Julie Foley policing it. It can't be us coming to you every year or every 6 months. So why am I here? Why am I saying all this? I'll get to the point. Whatever contract you all agree upon, you know the numbers. You have the financials in front of you. Although I must say, I did try to look up the Trophy Club Roanoke Baseball Association's financials, and all I came up with was a 990 easy form submitted to the IRS because you're a nonprofit 501c3 organization and your books aren't disclosed, which is kind of baffling to me because I have worked for a 501c3 and our books were open. So I don't understand why we can't see the financials of the Baseball Association. I know what the financials are on my street. I know how much I'm paying the town every year when I'm paying property tax. I know how much my neighbors are paying. I can get right on the Denton County tax record. So all I'm asking you right now is that when you're considering this contract tonight, you really think about the people that live here. And whether it was the chicken or the egg, the ordinance or no ordinance, or 40-foot buffer, no buffer, the safety of our children are paramount, whether it's my kid or the hundreds of kids that come and play. But there's got to be some accountability here in whatever contract you put together. So fines if lights are left on later than they should be. Fines if there's garbage left all over fields the next day after a tournament. Fines and maybe some policing going on at the tournaments because there's certainly enough people tailgating and drinking alcohol, which is also not permitted as part of the ordinance that was passed last year. That has to stop. And it has to be a safe place for me as a resident and for you all as baseball players. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want them back?
Softballs.
Okay.
The white ones are good, I know. Tell CB, whoever CB is, to stop hitting balls over my yard. Seriously, you can have them.
Okay. Let me just see. Did you just send me a new,
Yes, ma'am.
and, oh, that was for 14. Okay.
No, the one that I just sent you is for 12.
Okay, except didn't you just, Mike,
Mr. Buck?
Mr. Buck?
I think I gave her my time, but
That's what I thought. That's why I'm wondering.
actually, yeah, I will actually just talk about one thing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Didn't you just give her your time?
No, did she take 9 minutes?
Sue Fitzgerald, then I guess.
Just go ahead. Go ahead.
Mayor White, with all due respect, I can see you're getting upset.
Well, we have a process.
I know we have a process. I'm very familiar with the
ahead,
process of the
please.
town.
Go ahead. I asked you to go ahead.
I would like to,
I
the only
asked
point I would like to make is regarding the IRS guidelines that govern a 503C. I don't know if you actually read them. And if you haven't, you might want to read them. And do you have those that I can read, actually? Because I am going to take some time to read something to the council. I think they should know. Well, anyway, I'll paraphrase, and I'm sure Patricia will want to check this out. In the past, we've all been in front of the room here, for the last couple of years. And what's been interesting is the baseball people have also given presentations in front of the room for the last couple of years as well, too. Did you realize that a 503C organization cannot lobby a governmental body? Because they are a tax-exempt entity, they cannot lobby the Congress, they cannot lobby the Senate, they cannot lobby everything down to a local organization. Cannot be done. So really, if you really think about it, and if you really want to go back to the IRS guidelines, which is federal law the last time I looked, over the last several years that these gentlemen have been in front of you and paraded their coaches, their staff, their officers, kids with little baseball hats on in front of us and talked about contracts, lights, everything else. They've actually been in violation of a federal statute. That's the point I want to make.
Thank you. Please, okay. You make a good point. I don't know, I know that a 501c is not allowed to lobby, but I don't know the extent of how that works. I think we'll do some checking on it.
It actually does
I-
stay all the way down to a local.
Okay. There has to be a way for them to at least present their case. At any rate, I think you all make excellent points. I think that my personal thing is that those are all points that we need to give to the subcommittee who is negotiating the contract. I think that right now we have children already registered for this season, and we will vote on this, but I'm saying that I think you make some very valid points. I think part of what you're saying is probably enforcement as opposed to the specifics of the contract, but that's part of what we need to be looking at.